My friends, over the last weeks, I've received more messages than usual. Some of them short, some long voice notes sent from pickups driving between paddocks, and some arrive late at night when the ranch finally goes quiet. And almost all of them carry the same feeling. Not excitement in a loud way, but something deeper: relief. A sense that things are finally starting to make sense. Not just the grazing, not just the cattle, but the direction of the whole farm or ranch. And I wanted to take a moment today, before we move deeper into the season, to reflect on what I'm hearing from students inside the real world ranching system, and why so many of them feel hopeful about what comes next. Because maybe you're standing at the same crossroads right now. One of the things students tell me most often is not about numbers. It's not stocking rates. It's not forage yields, even though those matter. It's about how their thinking begins to change. At first, they join because they want answers: better timing, clearer decisions, a way to stop reacting. But somewhere along the way, something quieter happens. They stop chasing every new idea that passes through their phone. They stop feeling behind, and instead of forcing outcomes, they begin observing again. Not observing like beginners, observing like ranchers who finally trust what they're seeing. That's when things start to feel different. Last week, a producer told me something simple that stayed with me. He said, "Jim, nothing dramatic changed overnight, but I feel calmer walking the ranch." That might sound small, but if you spend years carrying the weight of decisions, you know how big that feeling really is. Because calm doesn't come from doing less work. It comes from understanding the rhythm underneath the work. So every morning, when I sit down with my coffee, I open messages from students across different environments and places, different soils, different rainfall, different cattle genetics. And yet, the words sound familiar. One rancher in Texas told me, "For the first time in years, I don't feel like summer is something I have to survive." A dairy producer in New Zealand said, "I stopped managing growth like a spreadsheet and started watching completion." And another member shared that nothing about his land size changed, but his decisions feel lighter. Not easier, just clearer. You see, spring always brings energy. Grass waking up, hope rising, pressure building gently in the background. Because the decisions you make now echo through the rest of the year. And many ranchers don't see mistakes until mid-season, when recovery slows, when supplementation increases, when the weather feels heavier than it should. But what I'm hearing this year feels different. Students aren't rushing, they're watching the sequence: growth, recovery, completion. And when you hear enough stories, you begin to recognize a pattern. The biggest change isn't intensity, it's alignment. If you ask me what students are surprised by the most, I'd say this. They didn't expect an emotional shift. They expected tools. They expected strategies. But many tell me they didn't expect to feel less alone. You see, ranching can be isolating. Decisions often happen without feedback. And inside ranching made simple, something simple happens. People begin sharing observations, not competing, not proving anything, just learning together. I've heard ranchers say things like, I'm finally building something that can outlast me. And that sentence always makes me pause, because at the heart of this work is not just better grazing, it's long-term resilience. Cattle holding their body condition for longer, pastures recovering more steadily, less urgency in our daily decisions. Not because the problems disappear, but because the system begins carrying part of the weight. Recently, one student said something during a call, and I wrote it down immediately. I used to think success meant doing more. Now I am realizing it means seeing more. My friend, that's a powerful shift because ranching, farming has always rewarded observation, and ranching made simple brings people back to that foundation. So, my friend, if you've been watching from the outside, this week is a gentle moment to step in. Until this Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time, you can join Real Wealth Ranching Systems using the code SPRING in capital letters and access your first month of Ranching Made Simple for $7. That's SPRING, SPRING. And just to be clear, this offer is for new members only and excludes current Ranching Made Simple subscribers. Inside the community, you'll find more than lessons. You'll find conversations that continue long after a webinar ends. Questions like, how do I know when completion actually happened? What do I watch for when growth slows? How do genetics fit into grazing rhythm? And instead of one answer, you'll see perspectives shaped by different climates and different experiences. One thing that I notice about long-term members is how their language changes. Early on, questions sound urgent. Later, they sound curious. And that shift reflects something deeper: confidence. When you trust the sequence, you stop asking from fear, and that's where real growth begins. Now, before I go, this morning, as the sun came up over the pasture, I thought about the many ranches connected through this work. Different countries, different languages, different landscapes, yet all moving toward the same goal: a ranch that grows stronger each year, a system that works with biology, not against it. If that vision resonates with you, I'd be honored to welcome you inside the Ranching Made Simple. Use the code SPRING before Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time and step into your first month for $7. Take care, my friends, and remember, the land is always teaching. Sometimes all we need is the right community walking beside us while we listen. May God bless you. I am Jim.